Hello, I'm Tammy Johnson with ColorLines. Obama has just finished his State of the Union address. Joining us in New York is writer and activist Lola Adesioye and author Rabb in Philadelphia. Chris, what's the word that comes to mind when you think of the theme of this speech tonight?
I'm going to go with sassy, Tammy. That's just where I stand on the issue.
Okay, sassy. What was sassy about it? Give me more.
He was vigilant when he could have been licking his wounds, but, he pulled off a fairly bold speech despite clearly feeling humbled.
Lola, what about you? What's the word that comes to mind?
He was chiding. He was like a father telling his kids, hey, listen, we got work to do. Get in line.
Yeah, I think I go along with that. I would say pretty fiery. He really did give the thumbs to the U.S. Senate and the Supreme Court and say, hey, I'm going to do what I need to do with an executive order. I wish we would see him do more of that on other issues as well. But speaking of that, what did stand out in terms of policies and directives tonight? Lola?
What stood out for me was when he was talking about education. We know that in communities of colour, children are often failed in the education system, so that for me was a very important one. I wasn't convinced really on his Afghanistan, we're going to have troops back by, June 2011. I'm not convinced about that.
What I noticed the most was he threw out some red meat that was fairly bipartisan and not as substantive as I would like. Helping small businesses is like being in favor of motherhood or apple pie.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice buzzword and it resonates with some people, but there was lots that was missing there for communities of colour who are really, really suffering and who aren't really going to benefit from middle-class tax cuts.
Yeah, and he also mentioned poverty only once in his entire speech. And he never used the term working class, which is an identity that Michelle Obama embraced very strongly and centrally when she spoke at the Democratic Convention.
So just a quick wrap up. What do we think this means to, the Latina in Chicago, the black men in New York, or any community of color? What is their takeaway for this speech tonight?
We need people on the ground, the grassroots organisation. We need people involved. This has to be participatory democracy.
So it's our own version of let's get it done. What do you think, Chris? Last word.
I agree wholeheartedly with Lola. I think this should send a message to the American people and particularly communities of color that if we're going to demand change, we have to start in our own communities.
I want to thank you both, Lola and Chris, for joining us tonight, and thank you for joining us with ColorLines.
Thank you.
Thank you.